with Christy Weiss, and she and I have had the pleasure to speak a lot about data. We're very like-minded, uh, and that's what we're going to be covering: data and AI, right, Christy?
Absolutely. Uh, like to find folks that are in the same kind of thought process on, where we're going as companies, right? With data and AI, and people say things like data is gold or data is the new gold, and it's that mysterious thing. So, other than this being buzzworthy, Miles, why are we even talking about AI? Why are we talking about data?
All right, we're going to get to quick introductions, and
All
we'll come
right.
to that. I'm Miles Feinberg. I've been in the technology space for over 30 years, grew my own cloud and managed services business, which I later sold to Synoptic. And today, within Synoptic, I work with the CIOs and help them to leverage technology. Christy?
I have been in the data and analytics space for 27 years, working mostly with retail, consumer goods, and manufacturing customers, but in all sides of the desk, on the retail side, on the manufacturing side, and then in consulting. I'm about to embark on my next journey leading data governance, but done, data analytics, data governance, data modeling, et cetera, throughout my career to help people get value from the data assets that they have.
Fantastic. So I think you threw the question about me about why we're even talking about
Yeah,
AI,
why
other
even
than it's,
talk about this?
and it is, but it is buzzworthy. And so, like, I think when businesses are thinking about leveraging any technology, including AI, it has to be from that same lens of achieving a material ROI for the business. And I have to say that because I hear so many leaders who are being pressured from above to just start adopting it without a what for, how does this help the business? And so an ROI can be derived, as we know, from lowering costs, such as labor costs, improving quality of what you're delivering, improving the speed of business operations, helping with the customer experience. And all of these things they all tend to deliver a better experience to your customer, which in turn increases sales, customer retention, improving profits. But the real question behind this is what's unique about AI as opposed to other technologies, maybe OCR, workflow automation, business dashboards, and the rest. The ability of what it's really about things that were previously only possible that with humans. Understanding of the context of data and the ability to autonomously continue to learn without any programming. Think about saying autonomous vehicles and that use case. How impossible would that be to develop something like that without AI? How could one program the handling all those endless possibilities, interaction with road conditions and other drivers and people and objects? You couldn't. So what makes this possible underlying it all is that there's now lots and lots of data to learn from. That's why uh, my car, I'm a Tesla. Sorry, I forgot to name my own car. They've had cameras in their car and have been accumulating massive amounts of data in form mostly of videos, but all the telemetry around that, and which it's been trained to learn on. That's why we call it machine learning. So hence, the precursor to leveraging AI really is data. So
Absolutely.
Christy, mentioning that data is kind of the prequel to analytics and decision making, automation, and AI. And I know you and I have spoken about this quite a bit. Like perhaps you can better explain why is that role of data so important and how firms ought to think about their innovation, generally leveraging their data.
You know, Data is that cornerstone, the foundational piece. With the evolution of technology and the compute power, you know, the AI systems can just pour through information so much faster than a human can, right? But it doesn't think and discern differently. I mean, it can learn to, right? But you still need to be able to feed in that we're talking about a like concept. And I always kind of go back to, companies have grown through acquisition, organically as well, but, so many fragmented systems, so much, has changed since Y2K as we're looking just 25 years ago, on self-made systems, et cetera, that if you can't get your data to talk to each other, if it's not speaking the same language, if you don't have that universal organizational language, you can feed everything into an AI engine, but it's not going to come back at you with logical things. And I'll use an example of like the concept of product data. Different ERP systems call that something different. Even the same ERP system, if you've acquired a company, I'm going to use Oracle, call them out. Oracle EBS has a lot of flexible segment and different fields in there, attribution fields in there. Even if attribute 7 is configured for both organizations that are using it, doesn't mean it's configured the same way. So you can't just push everything together. You really have to build that foundation of helping the systems understand that you're speaking the same language, mapping it together, and then, feeding it through. Without that, no one will even understand what's spitting out. No one will understand, right, what's the next best decision to take. So, we talk through that, things that companies should think about on that journey. It's not just we have systems, we have Copilot, or we have ChatGPT, now let's go for it. What other prerequisites, Miles, have you found that need to be taken into account before, organizations can embark on the journey?
Christy, it's funny we have a shared common experience. The ERP systems. A lot of manufacturers are doing these roll-ups, and they acquire similar-ish data from those acquisitions, but then they can't put it all together. Like as you pointed out, there's even companies that don't have ERP. There's incredible inconsistency, like you're mentioning about key data fields left blank. Some data differs depending on who entered it, and there's duplicate records and outdated information. So it's really important that we have quality data, garbage in, garbage out. So only the business can clean their data and keep it clean. I've had organizations say, well, can you clean it for us? I'm like, nobody understands your
Throw
data.
that over the wall. It would be easier if you do it for me.
Yeah, right. Sure.
We'd
love to just outsource all of it. And being as an outsourcing company that I work on, that would be great. But really the best way to accomplish this is to have data owners in the business ongoing who are responsible for the quality of their data. And a great way to motivate these owners is to include them in that vision of what will this do for the business. These data owners or data heroes should be part of the organizational ideation, that art of the possible discussion where you come up with use cases for AI-based automation, decision making, or whatever it is that you're going to do on your data. So I think that's really the key. And speaking of those business owners and business owners, like how do you show, Christy, that value of AI to the business?
I think the first thing you have to do is parlay the fear that a human is going to be replaced by a computer. And I think that simply, with, downsizing and pressures to returns, shareholder value for publicly traded companies, the first time you start to hear as a business stakeholder that, hey, we could just use AI, you start to have that fear of what will happen to my job. So you have to really help people understand that their jobs will change, right? But they will not go away. We still need them. But look at what could be possible. Really imagine with them what could be possible and what are the things that we can make easier for them, right? To think about, are there like a whole bunch of, I don't want to say dumb, but there are a whole bunch of tasks that you do that are, repetitive, that don't really add a lot of value, that take up a lot of your time. How could we make that faster, easier, more efficient for you to free you up to really kind of bring those golden nuggets to forward and really make some good decisions in the business that will move the needle, right? Not just, put that fear in, but parlay the fear, help them take themselves to the next level, right? To raise the bar of their work experience, to take it from, what they're doing today to bridge that gap to get them to where they are in the future. Have you seen, different business leaders that will come to you and ask about what kind of tactics should they employ to maximize their success when you're, in an engagement with an organization?
Sometimes they ask, as we know, but
Just do it.
and sometimes they should ask, right? I mean, I talk to these directors of technology, CTOs, CIOs, and oftentimes, especially today with all the buzz around AI, they tell me the board has placed the burden on them to start doing it, adopting AI, and with the frenzy, we all get it. There is this fear of missing out, which is a legitimate fear. We'll kind of get to that because things will be disruptive whenever there's a technology shift. But having this, like a CIO, a technology leader, own all of it independently, they're not leading business strategy. Telling the CIO to go do AI is like telling him to, here's a technology, go seek out a business problem to solve. The ELT still needs to be set the key objectives around improving customer experience, speed of execution, quality of your
Why are we
service or
doing
product.
this?
Yeah,
What are we
efficiency.
hoping for?
Right. The CAO can then say, okay, got it, ELT board, got it, boss. But then has to partner. And this is like the thing, you have to partner with the business leaders to ideate and prove those ideas out. So the business say, like, here's our challenges, here's where we have things that require a lot of thinking, that won't scale, a lot of manual labor. Those are key things that AI can excel at. And that's where the CIO, the technology leader, said, what if we did this? Let's see if we can prove that out. And then further, I would add, since AI is such a new technology for all of us, you may get better results leveraging outside partners, at least initially, to help you with ideation or construction of those proof of concepts to prove it out. Even again, if it's just to start your firm's AI journey, and then from there, but sometimes we need that kind of seeding of it. And then you got to have to set the expectations of leadership that you're going to run these proof of concepts and fail fast, right? We're not just going to go do it and here it is. This is new, but we're going to do it quickly. We're going to learn, we're going to move forward. And that these first few experiments, at a minimum, they may or may not revolutionize the business. We'll get there, but we're going to learn, and it's going to start this innovation cycle. So, and like I mentioned, you've got to do this or someone else will. We all have to recognize almost every industry is going to be disrupted. So you have to have some strategy around ideation and execution, or you will be the disruptee and not the disruptor.
Yeah, looking for examples of disruption, right? And then thinking, how does it apply to us? Not, wow, that's so sad that video rental companies are out of business. That'll never happen to us, right? What is the next thing that's going to disrupt? And then how can you look at what's that possible in the future to take that for your own industry, for your own business? How can you be disrupted? And then work towards solving it before you're irrelevant. Right?
So you're saying disrupt yourself or someone else will?
For sure. I think that things are changing so fast, faster, I would say, in the last 5 years and the prior 50. Yeah, disrupt yourself or someone else will. Who would have thought going to New York City and getting into a stranger's car? Who would have thought that you could have anything besides, pizza and Chinese delivered, right? You have everything delivered. So, yeah, absolutely. Think about, not this isn't applicable to what we're doing, but how could it be applicable? What could be disruptive to our business?
Christy, have you had any experiences that are relevant to this that you can share with our listeners and you can draw lessons from?
Yeah, I think that, a lot of experiences so far have been more around that low-hanging fruit, right? Automating some tasks that were low value, putting some, HR documents in searchable form in the HRIS system so that it's more self-serve, answering the questions on policies, procedures, et cetera. But as, when I worked in consulting, we used to celebrate and evangelize, right? For, internally, we have this many bots, we have this many AI solutions that have been launched and implemented, and these are capture the results. And then, share the good news, right? Celebrate, leverage the people who were impacted to talk about what they're doing now with that freed up time, or what they learned, or what decision they took. So, from, hey, we were able to, reduce headcount because we had one person just manually entering purchase orders. Now, even those that are still faxed or emailed across, we can, pick up and have automatically entered, verified, gosh, we saved one headcount. That doesn't mean that person left the organization. That person was doing 6 other things and still has, was able to learn something and take on other roles to do differently. So, making sure that as you look at what we've seen is some of that, like I said earlier, that low hanging fruit. People might say to you, gosh, isn't there anything cooler? Like, didn't we take a rocket ship to the moon yet, Christy? Miles, come on, right? Right now, let's build on the foundational, some of that low hanging fruit, celebrate that, evangelize it, parlay those fears, and then bring that together with the business to understand what else could be possible, right? Get outside of our own mind box and, the way that we've always done things to what else can we take it to? But some of those low hanging fruit things on, saving man hours or, needing somebody to answer every HR question, like how many PTO days do I have? And, can I pull it forward, right? You have that searchable. Or, hey, we have to enter these POs manually because we get them via email and there's no way to, we have to hand key them. Well, you could, you can, suck those in via an email box and have those automatically entered into your system. So, saving man hours, and those might have been the extra hours, the over 40 that somebody was doing, right? So it didn't eliminate their role.
Yeah, to your point about not eliminating a role, I mean, technology along the way has made us all more efficient, so we can focus on the higher level tasks that we all have to do, rather than I spend a lot of time doing things where I'm entering data in CRM. It provides visibility, but this is manual grunt work. Like those are the kind of tasks that we want to take away from people so they can really do things that are more material for the business.
Or when they're automatically, right, done at the same time as we're having a call,
Yes.
it automatically be entered. Then you can spend your time. What's the strategy to land that account? What's the strategy? What do I need? What do I need to put together? And even mine, hey, this is similar to, right? Another proposal we put together. And so can I get 40% of that, shifted over and help me compile what that offer might be, right? So it's not just, I've done this to check the box, right? But now how do I do that to raise the bar?
I was just reading the brochure, where if you will, from Microsoft about their dynamic CRM, and these things we're saying are literally in, what does the Copilot do? How does it help marketing? How does it help sales, business leaders, all the users and stakeholders of it? So
I think we've all had the experience. You're talking about something and then all of a sudden you're on your phone or on your laptop and, or you go on to Amazon and it says, hey, you're interested in, right? And it's a little bit, wow, that's helpful. And it's also a little bit like, wow, that's creepy. But how do we take that consumer experience to the workplace? And it's possible. We just have to think about how do we push the envelope there and make it just a surprise and delight. Wow, you're right. I was hoping for that. How do I don't have to do my research. It's all popped up right there. Hey, you were interested. You were talking about this. Yes, we were.
I love how you bring up, Christy, the consumer experience, like consumers, like businesses often don't think about that as one of the returns on their investment in any technology, including AI. And there's certainly tons of opportunity to improve that experience leveraging AI.
So often in consulting, I would go in and I would have an executive say, I just want to walk into my office on a Monday morning, Christy, and ask the computer, what are the 3 things I need to do this morning to make the largest impact on the business? Yeah. I mean, what keeps people up at night, right? They're trying to move the needle. They're trying to win in the marketplace. How do you help them win faster, right? How do you help them get through that information and take the most important actions?
Well, if I'm reading the book, The One Thing, it wouldn't be the 3 things. It might be the one thing. But
your point
remains the same. Like if someone could do that for me. so I could focus. That's where AI
Right. Go
comes in.
do the thing, right?
Yeah,
Go do the thing instead of trying to figure out what the thing is.
right. Those are some good experiences. I'll throw some more in here, and then we'll wrap up probably. My own company, while we're helping our customers execute and understand AI, we don't want to become obsolete ourselves, and we eat our own dog food. So, one example where we leveraged it is in the area of customer service. We field calls 24/7, and that interaction customers have with our customer service reps is a huge part of their satisfaction or dissatisfaction with it. That's
Right.
part of the customer experience that we want to improve on. And so, like many businesses, your call is being recorded for customer service. And,
Right.
we recorded all our calls as well. And then we would actually listen manually, right? Just it's a
Yeah.
call. But we have so many, maybe to 1% of them. So it left us with a pretty big blind spot in evaluating how well are we delivering to our customers, because 99% of those call interactions nobody listened to. And then we might get something later, and then we have to react to it rather than
Absolutely.
be
That was
right.
in my last company, one thing that in consumer services was being able to identify the product. So a consumer could send an image, or a customer, not necessarily just a consumer, could send an image of a product, could be identified. This is ours or it's not ours.
Oh,
And here are the typical things that fail in that product. So really gets them to resolve the issue so much faster, but also collects information for quality. It also, when someone submits a picture of an item that is not yours, right? Gives you some competitor insights as well. So very
oh,
interesting when you think about how many other use cases. I've seen a paint company and a door company leverage that similar kind of technology of try it on, right? You have the app on your phone and hey, this is what the paint color is going to look like on this wall, or this is what this door will look like on the front of my house. That's really cool. It's helping someone make that decision. Again, how do we do that in the workplace, not just on the consumer experience? It's pushing the envelope on what you can leverage.
it reminds me of a customer we're helping. I'll get to that. Let me back to the customer service thing. What we ended up doing, just to finish that,
Yeah.
was we had AI listen to all those recordings and listen to every single one of it. So there's now no labor being spent on it. More importantly, now we can have 100% coverage, grading that against a rubric about what is a great customer experience with our CSRs. So there's a number of places where we're experimenting. Some of those experiments aren't ready yet to deliver, the business benefits we want. So to my earlier point,
Right there.
not all of them are going to be hits, but the listening to our calls has been super, super effective. But you mentioned providing a picture. How clever is that? Where the AI can now say, that's not ours, or it is ours and it's this part. Or it's a competitor's. We have a customer who has very, very, very complex things for sale to businesses, for machinery with various specifications. And the only way right now is to look at PDFs. But how powerful would it be? We didn't really talk about this, the fact that
Yeah.
AI, a lot of it is leveraged not with programming, but typing or speaking English in English.
Right.
So if you could say, I'm looking for something with these tolerances, this size, power, performance, and it finds the products and recommends and tells you why. Boom.
My son's an automotive tech, and I'll tell you, that's the biggest thing, right? The diagnostic of this is what's wrong, and this is what we go after, right? And the more you're there and you're looking at the schematics and you're understanding, but again, a good use case for, hey, we can put all those PDFs in, read them, and then start collecting that data on what fails most often, right? And now you're helping to pinpoint and diagnose. And I've heard about that in the healthcare industry as well, as to, right? How do we bring that down, reduce the cycle time of how long it takes to diagnose something?
But the auto diagnosis is something that requires good data, lots of it to be trained on. And as a result, a human reasoning. It's a great candidate for the use of AI, where you have those things. I I think that's, is there anything else before we kind of wrap up, Christy, that you wanted to add to this
No, I just
discussion here?
think, I think that we hear a lot about AI and, why do we talk about it? It's let's look at this as another tool in the tool belt to help us do our jobs. It's not a threat. It's not just the local, near and dear shiny thing, but people want to talk about it because it seems cool and it's shiny. But think about the power of what could be, not necessarily, sticking with the fear of what is or what could be, right? The fear of the unknown on both sides that can be very powerful. We've evolved a lot. And, would you want to go back to doing something that we had to do, 70 years ago, right? If you could avoid it. But, looking through that looking glass of it's a cool thing. Technology has really unlocked so much possible for us. And don't be afraid of it, right? Don't be
Absolutely.
afraid.
Uh, I feel like we've been friends for decades, even if that hasn't been the case. But we're very much like-minded,
Yeah.
Christy. Your background, focus in data and governments and leading companies through the charge in technology, has been phenomenal. It matches my experiences in working with companies, leading my own, and helping the customers that we serve. This has been a hell of a lot of fun.
It has. Thank you.
Thank you again.